Kenya was wrong for texting Apollo. However, he was wrong for texting back. And Phaedra should be mad at both of them.
Do you feel like you owe Kenya an apology? Seems like your husband is at fault here. Put the blame where it belongs.
No, I don't owe Kenya an apology.
I'm not about to let you make my husband look crazy up in here.
Me, I didn't date your husband. She did, boo.
You know the rules. What rules?
You stop trying to be a damn bitch.
I will drag that hoe.
You do not have the right to. I will get out here.
Well, we are here talking the Real Housewives of Atlanta for the first time because I've been watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I couldn't go this alone because then Black Twitter would probably have my head, I would think. Wouldn't you think?
Okay.
But to be fair, you know, in watching it Real Housewives of Atlanta, she's watching pro wrestling with me. So white Twitter out there, don't worry. We're getting the fair end of the bargain here. But anyway, I've watched seasons, 3 through 6 now of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think we're probably mostly going to talk about season 6 today. But maybe we'll go into past seasons as well. So, we're going to start with my favorites, which is Peter and Cynthia. Because in season 3, Peter was really... Well, I think it was season 4. Season 4, Peter was carrying the season on his back.
Okay.
He was like an extra housewife, if you will.
Patricia.
Well, in this season, season 6, yeah, that's what they were calling
No, he's been Patricia since the day he joined.
You're too old, folks. You're too old, brother. You're too old.
I'm too old, baby. Bring it. You seem like you got all the attention. You bossed up.
Watch out. Get away from me.
Okay, but in season 4, the housewives were like, we don't want to spend too much time with each other because we don't get along.
Okay.
So then Peter was like carrying the drama of the season, I think.
Oh, wait, I thought we were talking about season 6.
We are, but I'm just saying that.
I don't remember season 4.
That was like when Nene and Kim weren't talking to each other. They weren't even in the same room together.
Oh, yeah, Peter said, beautiful baby, and then Croy said thank you, but Peter got mad because he didn't hear it. Yeah.
Exactly. The only other drama that season was Marlo and what's her ass? Sheree. In this season, we're starting to see problems between Peter and Cynthia.
I mean, we haven't been seeing them seasons 3 through 6.
No, I don't think so.
What?
How so?
I mean, her mom felt the need to hide their marriage certificate, Nick. Come on now.
Okay, but that's not problems between Peter and Cynthia.
Okay.
That's problems between Peter and Cynthia's family.
It definitely caused a problem between Peter and Cynthia. I will say the problem with Peter and Cynthia is Cynthia's family, for sure. Mal, I don't know why she butts in so much. She's like, oh, Peter, I know I'm staying with you 2 months, but did you hear? I heard that you bought a new car. Did you tell Cynthia about it? And it's like, wait a minute. Why are you talking, Mal?
Yeah, I don't like Mel. I never have since the moment we started watching. I feel like she's always butting in.
Yeah, so, I mean, I do think there's a problem there with Cynthia's family, for sure.
Now, I've always heard that Cynthia's boring. You know, before I started watching this, that's the only thing I ever heard about Cynthia, that she's boring. But I think her and Peter are like one of the most entertaining parts of the show so far.
I mean, Cynthia's going to have her boring era for sure. And I can, spoiler alert, tell you it is when Peter leaves. Patricia leaves for sure. But I think Cynthia, it's not so much that she's boring. I think it's that Cynthia gets the title of the lapdog, right? Because she's Nene's lapdog, or if she's not Nene's lapdog, she's Peter's lapdog, and she never really seems to take a stance of her own.
Do you agree with that?
I think that Cynthia doesn't take a stance of her own, not because she doesn't have a mind of her own or a backbone. I think it's because she agrees with what's being said. I think that she lets Peter do a lot of her dirty work. And I think that she agrees with a lot of Peter's stances, and I think Peter just has the gusto and the balls to say what Cynthia's thinking. And I don't fault that. Like, why not let, Patricia take the fall for a lot of these things? Papa Smurf.
I mean, I guess that's fair, but I don't honestly feel like Cynthia always agrees with Peter. I feel like Peter definitely always goes his own route.
I don't think Cynthia always agrees with Peter's delivery, but if Cynthia truly didn't like what Peter had to say, I think she would step in and stop him. So I guess to answer the original question, no, I don't think Cynthia is this person without a backbone. I think Cynthia is here for the shits. I think that her and Peter often discuss the dynamics between the ladies, and I think that that's why he has the opinions and the perspectives that he has, is because Cynthia shares so much. And I think that Peter just goes and he says things, and maybe some of it's off script, maybe some of it's not, but I think that that Cynthia co-signs a lot of what Patricia has to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. I don't know. I still feel like Peter has more different views than Cynthia actually does. But I guess we will...
Well, Nene kind of alluded to that in the reunion, though. She was like, Cynthia is a very strong woman. Cynthia is very opinionated. And to me, I like Cynthia. Like, it's not even me trying to, like, slander her, but I think Cynthia very much wants to keep the sweet, innocent Pisces victim campaign going. And
that was my next segment, though. As a Pisces.
Okay. As a Sagittarius.
And you being a Sagittarius. This friendship between her and Nene, who is a Sagittarius.
Tell me about it.
I mean, where do we begin with Nene? I feel like she has always been this, like, oh, my friends, if you're not a good friend, I'm going to just X you out.
And will.
But is she a good friend?
There's a certain little boy that she likes.
I heard about
That's the author. So my decision was to actually meet the little boy and his parents. We take them to the movies, they drop them off.
Cynthia and I have talked about this, and I am not in agreement with Cynthia. My son is 14. He is going into the 9th grade the same time Noel is going. And I know he likes girls, but I'm not going to help Brent to date anybody. I just can't be supportive of it.
Okay, well, first of all, let me just be clear. I'm just telling you guys what I'm going through, okay? I don't really need anybody to support it or not support it.
I feel like the girls are way more faster. I go to the mall, the girls are 100% fast.
Don't get all emotional about it. Check us out, Cynthia.
I don't think Nene or anyone else should interfere or judge another mother. It's just not right.
I don't see how Nene's a bad friend.
How is she a good friend?
I think Nene looks out for the people that she cares about. She cares about Cynthia deeply. I think she looks out for Cynthia. I think her and Cynthia have balanced conversations to help each other be better. I think the same for Marlo. Like Nene said, she was one of the first people to really welcome Marlo in the group. Now, does Nene have the sense to recognize that it is advantageous for her to do such a thing? Absolutely. I'm not saying that these friendships aren't to Nene's benefit, but I do think in Nene's mind, she's a good friend. For sure.
Nene's, from what I'm viewing now, I don't know any spoilers in the future, but Nene's getting this, like, edit where she's always, like, trying to, like, have an alliance of friends. I
Absolutely.
guess.
For sure. For sure. I think Nene is always recruiting numbers. For sure. Yeah.
But, like, that's where where I personally find her friendships to be, like, not that strong, not that, like, good. Because if she's always just looking for alliance members, then how's that a good friendship?
I don't think, though, that it's really... I think Nene is always trying to strengthen the number of yes men that she has on the show, but I don't think that she goes out of her way to make friends up until this point solely for the benefit of the show, right? I think Nene is the type of person that brings people on, right? So she brought Monique on. She brought Monique on. I think that her friendship with Monique was probably genuine. And does it help that she has a genuine friendship with someone who will probably support her and defend her in an argument? Absolutely. I think the same for Cynthia. I think for Marlo, I think that if Nene truly befriended Marlo, I think she probably saw something in her that she really liked. And does it help to have an added number on the show? Yes. But do I think that Nene is like, I am going to be friends with you because this is a numbers game? My answer would be no, up until the very end of the season where she seemed to get really close with Phaedra. Because how did you go from, oh, I don't know her, to she's the head doctor? Like, which one is it? Did you know that she was out here sucking dick, or did you not?
Touche. I want to circle back to some of the bigger moments, I guess, of season 6, but I guess we should probably go through everybody first. And since you mentioned Phaedra, I will say that Phaedra is the reason we actually started watching this show because...
not too much. The reason you started watching the show.
Well, the reason
Let the record show, I've been watching this show since it aired live, season 1. Literally, like, what was I? 11, 10, 11, 12,
fair.
13, 14.
The reason we started watching this together is because Phaedra...
Because you wanted to watch wrestling, but...
Well, yeah. But because Phaedra was on The Traitors...
Yes.
And I thought Phaedra was very entertaining.
And then I was like, you should see her on Housewives.
And so we started with season 3 when Phaedra first started.
Sure.
I didn't love her intro storyline because she was pregnant and there was the whole thing.
You have a whole thing against pregnant people, yes. We know.
I suppose. But it was boring. But Phaedra's just very entertaining.
You didn't think her making up her motherfucking... her due date was boring? You thought that was boring?
It wasn't the
This bitch went from 4 months to full term.
Fair.
Wasn't nothing boring about that.
It wasn't the most entertaining thing.
Okay. I mean, I think that she started the show truly representative of the person that she is.
Which is what?
A liar.
A liar?
Listen, I love me some Phaedra, but she be lying. She's a lawyer. She's a liar. Lawyer.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to disagree completely.
She be lying.
But in season 6, unfortunately, we're seeing her marriage to Apollo be this whole shit show of it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, how do we talk about this without talking about Kenya, I guess? Because that's the big story.
I think we can do that very easily. Apollo's a bad husband. Apollo's out here spending $5,000 a night at strip clubs, but then changed it to me and colleagues are spending $5,000 a night at a strip club. I think it's very easy to talk about Apollo and Phaedra's marriage without including Kenya because it's very obvious that they did not have a solid foundation going into it. And if you look, like, we're not going to act, it's 2024. We're not going to woman shame, and we're not going to act like Apollo was forced to do any of the things that he did. Apollo was the one that grabbed Kenya and threw her over his arm like fucking King Kong and jumped in the pool.
What is going on?
Everybody knows that it is inappropriate to be touching anybody's man, let alone their husband.
Apollo was very much an active and willing participant in his interactions with Kenya. So I think to frame this within the context of Kenya takes the responsibility off of Apollo in being true to his marriage.
I'm going to say that Apollo definitely is a big problem in this. I think he...
Well, I mean, if we're speaking with regards to Phaedra, he is the problem.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Phaedra also kind of lets him do it.
I don't think that she lets him do it so much as I think he just is trash and does it.
I don't know. This is the hardest one for me to discuss because I do like Phaedra.
Okay. I like Phaedra too. I think she's great.
But I don't like Kenya more horror, and you do. So that's, I think,
this
is where we disagree the most.
I'm gonna ride down for Kenya.
And I'm gonna.
And
be the
I
opposite.
heard, sis, that you were out here revenge pouring in. And listen, I'm gonna still stick beside you.
And I'm not.
I am going to be a Kenya Moore stan until, I guess now, until she gets removed from the series, because I like Kenya. And I think she's good TV. And I think that if she stirred the pot and was a messy hoe, I don't think that that's a reflection of who she is. I think she was trying to secure that bag, secure that spot, and try and get that paycheck. And I'm not mad at her for that.
But that's been my thing with Kenya since she first debuted on season 5, is that she comes across as somebody always trying very hard to have a storyline. You could call her a troll, I suppose.
She is a troll.
But also it kind of comes off as like, I can see why every woman on the cast has had a problem with her at some point.
Okay.
So how am I supposed to like her?
I think Kenya's one of those people where, like, I think she's with the shits and she's messy. I don't know. For me, I can just kind of separate when Kenya's being messy and like spilling tea, right? Like she very much was an active participant in stirring up the tea between Monique and Chuck and Kandi and Phaedra. Sure.
I got one last question. What was the sex like?
I am not going there with you.
Tacky, wacky. Let's not get so tacky, Kenya. Let's have a little more class, cray cray. Come on.
So for me, I can appreciate her role in being a messy bitch. But I don't think Kenya has to, even if she is batshit crazy, right? I don't think Kenya is the type of person that has to go out and pay a man to be her boyfriend. She doesn't have to go email a fucking ex-convict. Nothing wrong if you serve prison time. But, like, she doesn't have to go out here and email a fucking ex-convict and tell him that she wants to suck his dick in Beverly Hills. I don't think Kenya has to do any of those things because I think that those opportunities come to her. So it's just like, I believe her when she's telling the truth because what is her incentive to lie?
What was the name of her boyfriend in season 5?
Walter.
What
about him?
You don't agree that was some sham?
No.
You think that was a real relationship?
I think for Kenya, I think if Walter had ulterior motives and maybe he was trying to promote his fucking DeKalb County towing truck company that he wore on his fucking chest every episode, sure. But I don't think that Kenya... Why does Kenya need to go to pay anybody to date her? She's a beautiful woman. She's accomplished. She's a great personality. And sure... she's messy and she's good TV, but I don't think that is truly who she is at the end of the day. I don't. I mean, I think she needs therapy and she needs some Jesus. But, like, I don't think that Kenya needs to pay a fucking tow truck company owner, nothing wrong with that, to be her boyfriend. I don't think she needs to do that. No. Not when she's worked with the likes of a Boris Kojo. No.
Honestly, as much as I don't like Kenya, I do actually agree with you that relationship was actually...
real?
Yeah.
And Walter switched up on her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walter was honestly odd. I think maybe from the beginning of that relationship, Walter wasn't exactly in it for the right reasons. I mean, I don't remember how long they were dating before she began on the season, but maybe... it became that once he knew that he was going to be on TV, maybe he started playing it up or something.
100%. And, I mean, like, there's definitely some weird... Sorry, I was fact-checking that Kenya Moore and Boris Kojo had been in a... I thought they were in a menage a trois together.
You're asking the wrong person.
I was way too young watching that movie, but I think they were. Or... Anyways, let's move on. I agree, and I think that what I take from that relationship is that maybe they were getting to know each other, and maybe in the early stages it did look really promising, and maybe she had asked him to be on the show, but I could very well see a case scenario where the relationship wasn't progressing, it wasn't going well, and it was maybe obvious that they were going to break up, and so Walter tried to capitalize on that moment. But to sit there and make these ridiculous accusations like Kenya's not sexy or that Walter's gay, it's just like, we didn't need it. You two clearly chose each other for a reason, so don't do that.
Yeah, it was kind of just like a bad breakup. Let's throw each other under the bus.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll definitely be circling back to Kenya, but let's move on. We haven't got to Kandi yet. We're going to save that for last. I think we're
shaky ass voice.
We're going to talk about Porsha next, who also came on season 5 with the whole Cordell Stewart marriage. I never knew she was married to Cordell Stewart. Never knew that was a thing. Their relationship, I felt like, was bad, but also over dramatic. I don't think Cordell was as
abusive.
Yeah, as the show tried to make it seem.
Yeah, I think both of them spoke their truths. I appreciated hearing Porsha's... I think Porsha really gave it her all, and I think she really did try to be what she believed to be a good wife to Cordell. But does that mean that in doing so, she was being true to herself? No. Because we're about to see Porsha start thotting and bopping and really being who Porsha actually is. So I think Porsha tried to play a role of what she thought she should be. And I think she was genuine in that approach.
I think she was actually trying to play housewife.
Yeah, and like, if you're with a high-achieving man who has money and you enter the relationship with the idea that he's going to take care of you monetarily, yeah, I think she did what she was supposed to do, to be honest. I don't think either of them are lying, per se. I don't know that I think Porsha was Cordell's beard. I don't think it was that deep. But I think they just fell out. I think maybe with her joining the show, maybe the dynamic of their relationship changed because now she is making money and now she is more independent and now she does, have a schedule of her own, is demanding time, and things are just different now. Maybe that's not what either of them signed up for in the beginning, and that's okay. Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I guess before we get into some bigger events of season 6, my only question about Porsha is she dumb or is it just the edit?
Porsha, baby, you dumb.
She does come off as...
Let the record show.
So the Underground Railroad passed right beneath us.
Well, there has to be an opening for the railroad at some point. Because somebody's driving the train.
It wasn't a train, baby.
Really?
That leaves us for Kandi, which I think is going to be our first foray into a real season 6 talk because she was, in my opinion, the biggest storyline of season 6. With Todd, with her mom.
I can't stand mom. I cannot stand Miss Joyce. Because she ain't nobody mama around here. Miss Joyce. And why you bullshitting? Joyce.
Not even Miss?
Fuck her. No. You out here threatening to beat somebody's child's ass. Bitch, fuck you. You're Joyce.
Mama, you not excited?
About what?
About the wedding.
Yeah, if she finds somebody else to marry.
That is terrible.
Why is it terrible? You know I'm better than anybody.
What are you trying to imply?
What everybody else saying.
It ain't no everybody. You are everybody.
Girl, I ain't everybody.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to try my best to respect you.
You better respect me.
I mean, I can't disagree that...
Kandi gonna beat my ass. Let this fuck around go viral. She went, don't talk about my man. Don't talk about my man and my child and my mama. I'm talking about your mama and she's trash and she's gutter. What did Nene say in the fucking reunion? I wouldn't stoop so low to be Mama Joyce. I would. Your mama ain't shit.
Yeah, I don't disagree. That was the biggest storyline. Mama Joyce obviously doesn't like Todd's
Mama Joyce is a
with
narcissist.
Kandi because she allegedly doesn't think Todd is good enough for her daughter.
Because she's a narcissist.
Todd doesn't make enough for her daughter.
Okay, because she's a narcissist.
Is it because she's a narcissist or is it because she just wants the payday from Kandi? She wants to make sure she gets Kandi's money.
Yes. I think we've seen very clearly in their dynamic that Mama Joyce is a bad person and she is abusive. And I think I've kind of reached a point with her relationship with Kandi where Kandi was like, I don't pay her any mind. That's my mom. She's not going anywhere. I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to love her. And I respect Kandi for that. Could never be me. But, like, if Kandi's cool with it, I mean, I think it's sad because Todd, at this point in the season, very much was not at that place with Mama Joyce. Or Mrs. Joyce. With Joyce. So, like, I think that sucked as a viewer to watch him have to be victim to her. But I do understand where Kandi's coming from. That doesn't make it right, per se. But Joyce is ill. She's mentally ill. She seems to want to control her daughter, even in her late 30s. It's disgusting. And she only seems concerned with her own financial gain. And she's, like, really one of the worst type of boomers where it's like, oh, I sacrificed so much for Kandi. I was the one getting up. I was the one putting Oshkosh bagosh on Ken. Shut your ass up. That's what you're supposed to fucking do as a parent. What do you want, a medal?
Even though I do feel you're opportunist.
What do you think I'm getting out of it?
What you getting out of it? Ain't no ocean deep enough. Ain't no desert hot enough to keep me off your ass, baby.
And am I mad because Kandi now is doing her job as a child and taking care of her mother? No, but like, you don't get a fucking reward for just being a parent. You don't get that. You don't fucking get that, and you're also not entitled to make decisions about your child's love life. Like, no, shut the fuck up and stay in your place. And also, it sounds like this hoe has a gambling addiction, a shopping addiction, and she's trash. You're out here trying to set her man up to no, you're not gonna sell me on Mama Joyce trying to sabotage that relationship, because if your child's happiness and interest was truly a top priority to you, you wouldn't be trying to set her man up for failure. So fuck you, Joyce. How about that?
I'm not trying to side you on Mama Joyce. I agree. I feel like Kandi is in the spot of like between a rock and a hard place, where obviously she doesn't want to go against her mom because it's her mom, but she obviously loves Todd, and it's a hard situation for Todd because he has to deal with Mama Joyce's ridiculous over-the-top outbreaks. What really turned me off to Mama Joyce was her threatening
to beat Carmen's ass.
Exactly.
I'm not going anywhere. You ain't no damn family. Joyce, if you gonna make yourself look like that, then you do that. But you gonna do that by yourself.
Yeah, disgusting.
Like, it's ridiculous though, because she's so old. Like, what are you really gonna do?
I mean, I do think she could maybe fight. At that point in time, I think she could have maybe put up a decent fight against Carmen. But it is disgusting.
Carmen looked like she was good and ready.
Carmen do got them guns, arms, but like, still, it's a weird thing to say. Like, why are you standing up and pretending to be violent? Knock it off. And then her fucking disgusting, why don't you just go home, Carmen? Get the I hate old people. I'm Aspen, Asians. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And then like they're just so nasty. Like, that was at Kandi's fucking like dress shopping. What the fuck? Like, y'all just ruined her whole
Exactly.
moment. And like, you can't proclaim to say that you care about somebody when you could take away like such a precious moment for them. Like, she was excited, she wanted to buy dresses. Like, it's just disgusting to watch. I really can't fuck with it. No.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the season, Kandi was getting on my nerves a lot, and a lot of it was because she wouldn't deal with her mom. But at the same time, like, I get it. She loved her mom. I don't know. Where do you stand with Kandi in the whole situation?
I mean, I kind of said it earlier, where I think Kandi's reached a point where, like, I think Kandi knows the beast that she's dealing with in her mom. And I think she's reached a place of peace where she's like, this is my mom. This is a woman that sacrificed for me, because that's what you should do as a parent. And I'm not going to turn my back on my mother. And I can respect that, because as someone who has a parent like that, where it's just like, you know, things aren't perfect between us, but you're still my parent. Same, sure. But that doesn't make it difficult to watch. And I also don't think that it's fair to Todd for her to be like that.
Yeah.
And like, I also kind of wonder what the nature of her discussions with Todd were like. Like, was she like, listen, this bitch ain't crazy. That's my mama. I love her. I'm gonna take care of her. But just...
You think off camera that's what was happening?
Water off a duck's back. I don't think that was happening, because if it was, I think Todd would have been more prepared for Mama Joyce, for Joyce's shenanigans than he actually was. So, no, I don't think that Kandi had, like, primed him for just how fucking batshit crazy Joyce is. And then she just showed her ass at the reunion. I don't know. I just don't like her. I don't like her as a person. I don't think she cares about her daughter. And it's gross.
No, I agree. It comes off very selfish. And I think Mama Joyce just wanted to make sure she had her own cash cow and her daughter.
That's really gross.
It is.
That's gross and that's sad.
All right, let's circle back to some of the bigger moments of season 6. And a lot of them didn't involve Kenya Marhor. And
please stop calling her that.
I can't. I don't like her. I agree with Phaedra. Before we get to the whole Apollo situation...
No, we gonna call her phony Faye.
No, I'm not gonna.
I do love Phaedra, though. Let the record show. Kenya and Nene had a fallout because of the sleepover.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we gotta touch about the sleepover.
But I think leading up to it, and I do think Kenya was telling the truth in this, I think Kenya was coming for Nene's #1 spot. And Nene felt a way about it.
But you think Kenya was really coming for that spot?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think Kenya was or wasn't. I don't think what Kenya was doing mattered. But I do think Kenya was placed on this show by producers to be the powerhouse that she's being. And the fact that Nene felt threatened by that speaks to Nene's character. Because if you're that bitch, why are you upset? If Kenya brings more views to the show, then why do you care?
That's fair. But we gotta touch about the what was it, a lingerie party?
The sleepover. Nene was high. Yes.
She said she wasn't on any drugs.
Okay.
I don't know what is going on with doggone Nene.
Please stop looking at my legs, Apollo. And
the way she's just jumping and hopping around this room, like she seems a little geeked up or something.
But I agree.
She's definitely drunk.
She was on something. She was going.
She was manic as fuck.
Very manic, stirring the pot a lot.
100%.
Let's talk about what was her name that Kenya ran up on?
Child Chuck's wife. Don't nobody give a fuck about her name.
No, what I said. Oh, no. I'm not backpedaling.
Okay, so what is
this? Is front pedaling.
No.
I know where you actually stand in the situation, but do you want to talk about it?
Chuck should not have grabbed Kenya. I don't care what anyone says. Whether or not Kenya was charging his wife, you do not grab another woman. If you felt as though she was charging your wife, you go stand in front of your fucking wife. At the end of I think her name was Natalie. At the end of the day, Natalie thought she was gonna boss the fuck up in front of Kenya because her man was there. Oh, no, don't backpedal now, Kenya. Don't backpedal. No, ma'am. Because when it came time to boss the fuck up, it had Chuck's crusty ass do it. And he grabbed Kenya's arm, which was absolutely unacceptable. There was no need to touch her. There was absolutely no need. And then the fucking rampant homophobia
before we get there,
don't piss me off.
No, before we get there, as a guy in the situation, I do understand. Like, how is Chuck supposed to stop her from running up on his wife without touching her?
If somebody comes to run up on me, a woman,
I'm getting in front of you.
You can get in front of me, but that doesn't it doesn't make you right to grab them.
I don't know.
He grabbed her. And then kind of with some of the added context of the reunion that Chuck and Kenya used to fuck, it very much felt like a come here, bitch, like a familiar grab. Like,
I don't know if I agree. I don't think it was like the most aggressive.
It doesn't matter. Why was he touching her?
To stop her from running up on his wife.
Why was he standing up to begin with? Porsha said it from the first moment. Sir, please take your seat. Why were you sitting? Like, both of them were trying to have a moment, and it was like, this is not your show to have a moment.
I don't know if Portia's the one to really talk about aggression.
True. But it's just like, Porsha said it. She was like, sir, like, why was Chuck standing to begin with? I don't know. I'm kind of with Kenya, where it's like, nah, bitch, you're not going to punk me because your man's here. If you really about it, and we can really talk about it together as adults. I don't think Kenya was charging her to go beat her ass, but I do think Kenya was going to get in her face.
Well, according to Nene, that it was Kenya's fault that the whole
because Nene is an abuse apologist. Nene is the type of person where it's like a woman could be like, oh my God, I got in a domestic violence dispute. And Nene, at this point in time, would be like, well, what did you do to make them angry? Disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting that you can sit there and blame a grown man's fucking actions on what another person did. The only people we should be looking at is why the fuck Chuck grabbed Kenya, why Apollo went fucking beast on Brandon. Now, disgusting.
Now,
oh my God. Come on, man.
While I somewhat disagree about Chuck, I do agree that Apollo obviously went way too far.
Apollo had no fucking reason to be in that interaction. Like, that was just so homophobic. And then fucking Nene being like, come on, queen. And you had your queen friend. Don't bring him around here no more. Homophobic. Homophobic. And the way that she answered Andy's questions, homophobic. I don't like it. Just because you use fucking gay lingo and the gays love you, it's giving homophobic.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
If your first resort to someone protecting their friend is, and your queen friend, you're a homophobe. Period.
Anything else from that night?
No, fuck that night. I will stand by Kenya. I think that Kenya got out of her seat because Chuck was out of his seat. If you wanted the bitches to sit down, you should have told Chuck to sit down. He had no reason grabbing fucking Kenya. Apollo had no reason getting his monkey barbarian ass
I will say
in Brandon's face. And if you really look close at the clip, Peter held Brandon down.
Well, I was going to say
disgusting.
Peter also kind of got himself involved in those situations, per usual.
It's disgusting. It actually was just disgusting. It was a fucking disgusting display of homophobia, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And all Brandon did was stand up for his friend, as he should have done. And none of the other men did so. The fucking record clearly showed that Chuck grabbed Kenya.
But the record also showed that Kenya was walking up on his wife.
So Kenya can't get up out of her seat, right? That's what we're saying?
Not to walk towards his wife.
But Chuck can get out of his seat and can stand over Kenya and can condescend her. That's what I'm hearing?
But I wouldn't say he was right over Kenya. He was just standing up.
I don't think it matters. It's disgusting.
Anyway, to move on from that.
You brought it up.
I know. But this is about Kenya versus Nene, because then to transpire as the season goes on, the whole Marlo situation where Marlo used to be Nene's friend and now she's spending all this time with Kenya.
Because you're so insecure. No, but you are insecure. And I mean, you're going to stop being my friend because I'm with the next bitch.
Do you think that's really why Nene broke off the relationship with Marlo?
Absolutely.
Why?
I mean, I think Nene clearly feels a way about Kenya, and I am inclined to believe Kenya's story that Nene was upset that maybe the producers were trying to make Kenya the star of the show. And if not make Kenya the star of the show, at least make Kenya the antagonist to Nene, right? And that's fair. I'm not saying Nene's wrong for that either. But I can very much picture a world where Nene had shared these feelings with Marlo, and then for Marlo to now go and befriend Kenya, I would feel betrayed too. So I'm not saying Nene's even wrong for that, but I do absolutely think that Kenya was the root of the cause of that fraction, for sure.
Do you think Kenya did that purposefully? Because Kenya is the antagonist. She tries to be the antagonist.
Yes, but I can also see a world where Kenya and Marlo just hit it off. They're both Aquariuses and they're both messy hoes. I can kind of see a world.
Because I also agree that from Nene's perspective, if you're this good friend with Marlo and you're having all these problems with Kenya and suddenly your friend's spending time with somebody you don't like, I agree with Nene. I don't want to fuck with that. So, I mean, I understand Nene's point of view in that situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Another person that's had a lot of problems with Kenya is Phaedra because of her husband. And while Apollo does play a part in all of this, you don't think Kenya does too? I feel like it's another way that Kenya just becomes an antagonist.
I don't think Kenya plays as large of a role in the fracture in Phaedra and Apollo's marriage as this show makes it seem. I think Apollo is an awful husband. I think that their marriage has been on the rocks since they joined the show. And I think Kenya, being a messy hoe who loves to be good entertainment, I think that she plays to that vulnerability. But do I think Kenya's out here texting Apollo? Absolutely not. No. Nope.
Then why did she, at the whole cigar place in Mexico, be the only woman to show up to talk to Apollo?
So you're gonna have to refresh my memory on that, because all I understood from that was that Kenya and Miss Lawrence happened to be downstairs at the same time as the guys.
Just happened to be.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
Oh my God, what is he doing over there with her?
You don't even believe your damn self when you talk.
Here we go.
I mean, even thinking about that conversation, wasn't it just Kenya being like, Apollo, now you gotta chill because you know you're fucking lying. I never once agreed to see you in LA. And then Apollo being like, if I wanted to fuck you, I could've. You're trash. Because you're trash.
Apollo is trash. I'm not.
He's trash. He's not a good husband. He's not a fucking good husband. And their marriage is awful. And I feel bad because I think, like, while Kenya says her slick shit. It's funny as a viewer, but it's like, well, I don't have to look too far because somebody's husband strays. Good shit. Good television. I think Kenya... I think the role of Kenya is to piss Phaedra off more than it actually is to try and fuck Apollo. Nobody wants Apollo. And like I said earlier, Kenya is a fucking beautiful, accomplished woman. She doesn't have to search that far for dick. And if she did, it for damn sure wouldn't be Apollo's. So, like, let's not do this.
I mean, that is one of her storylines, though. I don't know the future. I don't know spoilers. But I do know that in these 2 seasons, it seems like she talks about these guys, but they're not on the show.
I refuse to believe that Kenya has to lie about having a man. I think that if they're not on the show, it's because either they're not comfortable or she's not comfortable. But you are just not going to sit there and look me in the eye and tell me that Kenya Moore whore is not beautiful and cannot pull a man. We're just not going to do that.
As somebody not into fake asses, I don't know if I agree.
But fake ass aside, Kenya has a beautiful face. She has a banging body. She has a great personality, and she's accomplished. Next.
Another person that Kenya has a problem with, which is a theme here with Kenya, is Porsha. Mm-hmm. That they've been going at it since they debuted.
They have.
Why do you think these two don't get along? And is it Kenya's fault?
I do think Kenya has a problem with Porsha. I think part of it is that, like, Kenya and Porsha to me are, like, ultimately trying to achieve the same means, right? Like, Kenya really wants to be a mother. Porsha really wants to be a mother. I think both of them aspire to have these really traditional lives where they're settled, they have a family, and that's just kind of what they want to do. But I think that both of them went about it through very different mechanisms, where, like, Porsha kind of married into money. She married Cordell. And, you know, sure, Porsha comes from an established family in Atlanta, but, like, who's Porsha, truly? Like, who is she? She's some rando. Whereas Kenya busted her ass, you know, obviously, clearly has mother issues, and I just think that I think I could see resentment from both ends, but more so on Kenya, where I think Kenya just resents the fact that Porsha's not this self-made woman who had to get it out the mud, and it's just like, that's not her fault.
Not everyone could be Miss Universe.
Exactly. Was Kenya Miss Universe? I think she came like second.
I mean, it was Miss USA, I think, but...
No, she came one in USA. I think she was like number 2.
But she wasn't Miss Universe.
Yeah, she competed. Yeah, but I think Kenya just resents that about Porsha. Is that, like, what she worked so hard to achieve, Porsha was kind of given. But it's like, that doesn't make Portia's plight any less valid. I don't think Kenya could have put up with anything that Porsha went through with Cordell.
I didn't expect Porsha to get so physical at the reunion. It kind of came out of nowhere, but I didn't hate it either, to be honest.
You are a dumb hoe. Shut up. No.
Yeah, I hate to see that it got violent. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, Kenya deserved to get her ass beat. And also, like, Porsha pulled her hair, from what I understood.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, if Porsha would have got some, you know, like, shots.
Yeah, Porsha didn't mollywop her.
I kind of wish she did, but...
Exactly, right. Like, then we could be talking about some real assault. Porsha pulled the fuck out of her hair, and that was kind of the end of it. Kenya antagonized her, though. The bullhorn in somebody's face. the scepter and then telling her to spell scepter, I would have beat your ass right then and there.
It's true. It made me. I already like Porsha, honestly, but made me like Porsha
Portia's
a little
great.
more. She's no Peter, but I do like Porsha.
I mean, so you're saying you liked Porsha after she?
No, I'm saying I already
assaulted
like
Kenya?
Porsha.
Oh, okay.
But I liked her even more after she
Assaulted Kenya.
pulled Kenya's hair.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate that Porsha became the bad guy out of this, because as much as I am a Kenya Moore stan, she was wrong. And you don't get, you just can't do that, right? And I'm not saying what Porsha did was correct or valid, but it's just like, two wrongs don't make a right. And Kenya clearly antagonized this woman, and the fact that Kenya gets to now go under the guise of, oh, we're women and it's a reunion and we're all going to say things we don't like to say. Sure, but you also had a blowhorn in someone's face calling them a dumb hoe.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Good on Porsha for standing on her business.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
As we wind down here, I guess the only other thing I could think of from the season is Nene versus Peter and Cynthia. Mm-hmm. And Nene calling Peter a bitch, or he was acting like a bitch.
She was like, you need to stop being a damn bitch and stay out of women's business. Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between calling someone a bitch and acting like a bitch?
The difference between what? A noun and an adjective?
I mean, I don't think there's a difference, though. I will say this. As someone that enjoys Peter because he's the only husband that actually gives us good TV, I think he went a little too far in season 6 with... Especially when he started with poking his nose into Portia's business with Cordell, talking to her Cordell outside of the thing. Yeah. Peter did do a little too much. Yeah. But then this kind of causes a rift between Nene and Cynthia. And, you know, a few seasons ago, they signed a friendship contract, and Nene's breaking that currently.
I don't think Nene's the one that broke that. From what I understand... is I think we even saw on the show where, you know, Cynthia and Peter and Nene and Greg kind of squashed that beef at dinner.
I think Greg tried to. Did Nene try to?
I don't think Nene ever explicitly apologized for saying you're acting like a bitch. I think Nene kind of doubled down and was like, but you were, and I can't say that I disagree. But I understand Nene and Greg's, like, anger/confusion, because it sounds like they truly had moved on from it. And then it aired again. And now, all of a sudden, I'm just trying to step into Nene's shoes as a Sagittarius sister. Now, all of a sudden, those wounds have been... We are Sagittarius. Let the record show I don't like other Sagittarians. Now all of a sudden those wounds are reopened. And I could totally see a world where Nene's like, I thought we squashed this. Like, why are you bringing this up now that it's convenient? So I could see that. Peter was acting like a bitch. I don't really care how you slice it and dice it. He needs to... I'm not even going to say he needs to stay out of women's business. More so as much as, like, he just is in women's business, right? Like... And I think for Nene specifically, I think she was upset because she didn't like that Peter clocked her tea at that fucking charity ball where she showed her ass.
And he was right.
It's amazing how many good friends I have and don't know about it. But I would like to thank Saving Our Daughters, which is one of many charities that I work with.
I think that is foul. Okay? Whatever beef they have, this is not the place for it. This is a charity event.
And what does that mean? What did I say?
Seriously?
No, I'm serious.
Oh, absolutely, he was right. And I just think that she didn't like that he called her out about it, and it made her feel some type of way. The fact that Greg brought it up fucking 6 weeks after the fact. Come on, Greg. It very much, to me, gave, like, Nene put him up to it.
You can't me all day. Get in her face. Get in her face. Yo, if she come and ask me again, I'm going to tell her the same thing I told her before.
But it's just like... You're just mad because you showed your ass and your friend Peter / Cynthia, because we all know Peter low-key be expressing Cynthia's views, in my opinion. Peter clocked your tea. He called you out on it. He said, hey, man, you showed your ass. I'm embarrassed. I want to go home. And I think as a Sagittarius, our egos get bruised very easily. And I don't think Nene liked being checked. And I mean, shit, I'm not going to tell you that if somebody says some shit about me, I wouldn't do the same thing. I ain't going to tell you that I wouldn't be Nene in this situation. I'm just saying.
Why can Sagittarius always want to, say what they want to say and not have any regrets? But if somebody calls Nene out on her shit, she can't handle it.
Because in our minds, we're never wrong.
And that's the problem.
But I will say, though, I feel for Nene because I feel for Nene truly, not even on some Sagittarius shit, because Nene was put between a rock and a hard place. Kenya was playing in her motherfucking face, started this whole charity event on her behalf when they weren't even cool.
True.
And if Nene didn't show up, she would have been a bad guy. And then she did show up and she showed her ass and she was still the bad guy.
I agree.
So it's like, I think in Nene's mind, she was set up for failure regardless how you slice it. But then you have Peter being like, yo, you shouldn't have done that, Nene. Like, yo, that was wrong. And like, I get it. I get why he would say that she's wrong, but I also get why she went there and she showed her ass, because it's like.
But I feel like it's Nene taking shit out on Cynthia and Peter rather than on Kenya.
Yeah.
So Nene's still in the wrong.
Yes. I mean, but I also agree that Peter be acting like a damn bitch, because it's like, well, ultimately Peter didn't really involve you, right? I'm not gonna be one of those people. I don't think men should be touching women.
We've understood that tonight.
But I'm not going to be that type of person that's like, if your man has a problem with me, he needs to communicate it through you as a woman. Yeah. No, I don't think that. And I don't feel like Peter was disrespectful. I think Peter's just Jamaican and he talks hard. But I think Nene also talks very hard and aggressively. So, like, if that's how you talk to people, you can't get mad when they talk to you the same fucking way. So I don't know. I think Nene just didn't really like her tea being clocked, and that's cool. And like, as a Sagittarius myself, I understand how it is. And again, I'm not gonna say that I would have done anything differently, because fuck you and your man. And I would have called him a bitch. I wouldn't have said I would have said right then and there, you're a bitch, and get out of my face. So like, I'm not mad at how Nene responded, but she wrong.
Do you think Cynthia is right that Nene doesn't respect her enough?
I really can't think of any instances over the course of the season where Nene has showed disrespect to Cynthia. I
will say there's been a couple times over the past 2 seasons where Cynthia says something and Nene's just rolling her eyes. Which could be an edit, but we don't know.
I'm very much, I mean, you know how we are. Like, you're a Pisces, I'm saying. I don't think that those are moments of disrespect. I think those are moments of different communication styles. I am inclined to agree with Nene, where I feel like if we squash this, why are you bringing it up again? And I think that maybe with all of the tweets and just everything that transpired between when the season aired and when they had that reunion, I think Cynthia maybe had a lot of time to stew, / maybe Peter wasn't content with the apology. I don't know. But I think Cynthia is expressing rage and hostility from just different things that have happened in their relationship as a whole, versus like Nene's just disrespectful. I really don't think that that's true.
I could agree with that. I feel like as a Pisces in the situation, I need to like kind of take up for Cynthia in the situation, because I feel like throughout these now 4 seasons that I've watched of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia is the only housewife that will sit there and actually try to have a logical conversation with people.
Okay.
So like, in this situation, I don't think Cynthia is being dramatic. Even though she's a Pisces and we are dramatic, I do feel like Cynthia has shown consistently for 4 seasons now that she's the only person on the show that will actually try and have a logical conversation.
Okay, so connect that to me with her being disrespected by Nene.
Well, that if she feels some sort of way, then I feel like Nene should actually try and maybe make amends. And yeah, Nene could think, because Greg took us out to dinner, we're making amends, but maybe it wasn't enough for Cynthia.
I think for Nene, it wasn't that she wasn't willing to hear Cynthia about the claims of disrespect, but I don't think she liked the manner of how Cynthia did it. Where it's like, if we're supposed to be good friends, why the fuck are you bringing this to a reunion? So I think that if Cynthia had approached Nene one-on-one in private and was like, I still feel some type of way about the whole Peter bitch thing, and I feel like overall you disrespect me, I think Nene would have been more receptive. But Nene very clearly said it. I'm not willing to discuss our friendship in front of a bunch of people who don't care.
But according to Cynthia at the reunion, Nene wasn't talking to her. And God knows a Sagittarius will cut people off.
And will. I was kind of under the impression that they weren't talking to each other.
For a few weeks.
I feel like wasn't the phone ringing on neither side.
But how's that Cynthia's fault?
Well, if Cynthia ain't calling and Nene ain't calling, it sounds like it's both of their faults. But also, you have to remember, you don't remember, I used to read these OG blogs on BravoTV.com.
From Nene?
From all of them. All of the housewives, they used to like literally write on BravoTV.com like little recaps about the episode, and it was like called blogs. But you also have to remember that, like, in addition to them not talking, they're also like writing stuff and tweeting stuff and going on Watch What Happens Live. So I think there's a lot that could have transpired there where they weren't talking to each other. But still, just looking at the reunion for face value, I think Nene was upset because it's like, if we are going to really have this conversation about our friendship, don't fucking try and play in my face in front of strangers. Like, don't do that. That would piss me off, too. No, because you're not going to fucking play in my face in front of Andy Cohen. We're not going to do that. Or you're not going to punk me like I haven't been a good friend to you.
Well, I don't know. From my perspective on this season, Nene's running out of friends. So I guess we'll see what happens. She has Phaedra. And that's about it.
Phaedra's a friend to nobody.
Because her and Kandi have been not ever on good terms in any season I've watched.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The only other big thing I could think of that we haven't touched upon is Kandi almost fighting Cynthia too.
Yeah, that was just weird. That was weird. I mean, Cynthia was really the one that started that whole opportunist conversation between Natalie and Chuck and Kandi and Todd. To me, Natalie being like, Todd's always on the come up, did not give opportunist tease to me. It very much just gave like, Todd's always hustling, Todd's always trying to better himself. I don't think that that's wrong. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't take it like that. To me, Cynthia very much propagated that whole fucking drama, and she got what she deserved from it. You should have shut your fucking mouth. Talk about her man and her mama and her kid.
Kandi was way over the top in that whole situation.
Yeah, it was weird. But also, you gotta remember, Kandi's short. Kandi's probably 5 feet on a good day.
So?
And what's Cynthia? 6'11"?
I mean, but Cynthia wasn't coming at her that aggressive.
It's not even about coming at her.
And Peter wasn't stepping up to her either like Kandi was saying. On Kandi? No, he wasn't.
Peter did come bucking up his chest like he gonna do something.
He didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, we didn't. And when we watched it, you agreed with me.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
No, Peter definitely... No, Peter said to Kandi... Like, no, Peter was very much aggressive. Peter was giving us Patricia. Yes, he was.
He was just talking to her. He wasn't all up in her face.
I don't think he was all up in her face like this, but I think Peter was talking crazy and was talking aggressive to her. And also, I think... It goes back to this whole thing that we've talked about with, like, the male, the gender dynamics, where it was like, I think maybe Kandi felt some type of way that Peter was addressing her at all. But I think Cynthia got what she deserved from this. And Cynthia, like what I was saying before you cut me off, is that Cynthia is tall. And you know how Cynthia is. Like, I think Cynthia can be quick at the hip with it, right? Like, she can hold her own. And she also does talk with her hands. And I think because she's tall and she talks with her hands and she can be quick-witted, I do think Kandi could have taken that as a threat. But Cynthia was the one that called Todd an opportunist to begin with. So you get what the fuck you start.
That's fair. Anything we haven't touched upon that you want to talk about before we end this long conversation?
I think. I'm like literally going Nene versus Kenya, Nene versus Cynthia, Nene versus Porsha. There was some tea with Nene thinking Porsha was a bad friend. Let's see. And then we go Kenya versus Nene, Kenya versus Kandi. Kenya versus Kandi. Kenya and Kandi have a weird relationship. Kenya versus Phaedra. Cynthia versus Nene. Cynthia versus Kandi. Cynthia versus Phaedra. Nothing happened there. Porsha versus Kenya. Porsha versus Cynthia. Porsha versus Nene. Porsha versus Kandi. And Porsha versus Phaedra. No. I guess, well, maybe Kandi versus Nene. Kandi and Nene went at it a lot. And then Kandi versus Phaedra. No. I did every permutation just now.
I know. Well, I guess that is all then. Hopefully we will record these more often and not just wait till the end of the season because it's a lot to talk about. So hopefully maybe every 5 to 6 episodes.
We'll see.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed our little talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta from a decade ago. But it's been fun to watch, you know.
100%.
Hopefully you're enjoying pro wrestling too.
I am.
Anyway, this is Q and Nick for the night.
Bye.